Question 1. The prevailing attitude toward adult learning highlights the importance of adapting to individual learning styles. During a recent onboarding session for new front desk associates, Is Patel, a hospitality trainer, notices that some participants are disengaged during the lecture segments but highly responsive during role-play exercises. She suspects that her training approach may not align with all learners' preferences. To enhance the effectiveness of the program, what should Isa Patel do next? A. Eliminate lecture portions and convert all sessions into hands-on activities. B. Implement a blended training model incorporating visual, auditory, and kinesthetic elements. C. Focus only on the dominant learning style observed in the group. D. Assign independent learning modules to allow self-paced learning. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Isa Patel should implement a blended training model that considers the VAC model, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, a widely recognized framework in adult learning theory. Adults benefit from multimodal engagement. Knowles' adult learning theory and catering to different styles promotes retention and motivation, while some trainees thrive in hands-on practice, kinesthetic, others may process better through diagrams, visual, verbal, discussion, auditory. Choice A. Overcorrects. Choice C. Excludes others. And D, although beneficial for flexibility, does not address the immediate in-session need for engagement diversity. Question 2. With the advent of cross-cultural teams in hospitality, trainers often encounter varying barriers to effective learning. Esther Okoro, a senior housekeeping trainer at a luxury hotel, is tasked with instructing a team composed of individuals from different linguistic and cultural backgrounds. Despite his use of clear slides and translated materials, some trainees still appear confused and hesitant to participate. What is the most likely underlying issue? A. The content is too advanced for their job roles. B. There is a lack of alignment with adult learning principles. C. The training fails to address cultural and experiential differences. D. The trainer should switch to one-on-one sessions for all employees. Answer. Correct answer, C. Explanation. Barriers to learning often include cultural, language, and prior experience mismatches. According to cross-cultural training best practices and Andragogy Knowles, trainers must contextualize learning to the learner's cultural and personal experiences. While language aids are useful, they are not sufficient when the examples, norms, and assumptions in training do not resonate with diverse backgrounds. Option A incorrectly assumes job relevance is the issue, B is too broad, and D is impractical and not scalable. Question 3. Based on the information collected from post-training evaluations, Is Rickside discovers that her feedback style during service simulation exercises is perceived as overly critical, leading to decreased trainee participation. She wants to maintain high standards without discouraging learners. What feedback strategy should she adopt? A. Focus solely on praising performance to maintain morale. B. Provide feedback only at the end of the training. C. Use the feedback sandwich method combining positive and developmental comments. D. Avoid giving individual feedback to prevent embarrassment. Answer. Correct answer, C. Explanation. The feedback sandwich method. Positive comment followed by constructive criticism ending with encouragement. It is rooted in psychological safety principles and supports adult learners' autonomy and dignity. According to ET guidelines and feedback best practices in training, this method balances affirmation and growth. Option A neglects growth, B misses real-time correction opportunities, and D fails to individualize the learning process, which is critical in performance-based roles. Question 4. While examining the outcomes of a fire drill exercise at a major hotel, Ista Kawamura, a department trainer, notices that several employees were unsure about their assigned roles despite having completed a digital emergency procedures training module. What should Ista Kawamura do to ensure that training is truly effective and employees retain the procedures? A. Increase the frequency of online training modules. B. Implement scenario-based physical drills alongside digital modules. C. Penalize employees for failing to remember key procedures. D. Assign supervisors to monitor compliance during drills. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Scenario-based physical drills, supported by experiential learning theory and hospitality risk management practices, enhance procedural memory and contextual understanding. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration (OSHA) also emphasizes practical exercises for emergency preparedness. Online modules alone cannot replace real-world simulation. Options A and C rely on repetition or punishment, which are less effective than experiential learning. Option D may support accountability but does not address the root learning deficiency. Question 5. The development of a comprehensive training program in the banquet department includes modules on event setup, customer interaction, and safety compliance. However, feedback suggests that topics are scattered and redundant. Trainer Is Delgado decides to restructure the training content. Which principle should guide her curriculum redesign? A. Include as much content as possible to avoid omissions. B. Structure content from most difficult to easiest to challenge trainees. C. Organize content logically from general concepts to specific tasks. D. Combine all topics into one extensive module to save time. Answer. Correct answer, C. Explanation. Logical sequencing from general to specific aligns with instructional design theory and CET curriculum development standards. It ensures foundational knowledge is laid before complex application. The ADDIE model design phase emphasizes clear, non-redundant, and cohesive content flow. Choice A can overwhelm, B demotivates learners, and D leads to cognitive overload without structured segmentation. Question 6. From a practical standpoint, is to Graham a restaurant supervisor newly assigned as a mentor notices that his mentee, Lewis, is struggling with food safety standards. Rather than correcting mistakes directly, Mr. Graham asks guiding questions, shares personal experiences, and allows Lewis to reflect on his actions. What style of mentoring is Mr. Graham demonstrating? A. Directive mentoring. B. Developmental mentoring. C. Passive observation. D. Authoritative coaching. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Developmental mentoring is a learner-centered approach that encourages reflection and autonomy, key elements of andragogy and transformational leadership in training. It contrasts with directive mentoring, which is instruction-heavy principles support fostering internal motivation and long-term learning through inquiry and dialogue. Option C lacks engagement, and D contradicts mentorship values by emphasizing authority over collaboration. Question 7. The correlation between departmental performance and recent training investment is under review. The HR department reports that after an extensive front office customer service training, guest satisfaction scores improved by 15% and customer complaints dropped by 30%. What is the best way to quantify the ROI of this training? A. Multiply the number of attendees by the training cost. B. Compare pre- and post-training performance metrics and calculate monetary impact. C. Measure employee satisfaction with the training. D. Assess the amount of content covered in the training. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. ROI, return on investment in training, is calculated by measuring tangible performance improvements and assigning monetary value, then comparing it to the cost of training. This is aligned with Kirkpatrick's Level 4 evaluation and Phillips' ROI methodology. Option A reflects cost, not value. C measures perception, not impact. D is content-based, not results-based, thus failing to demonstrate effectiveness. Question 8. Demonstrated by a recent guest incident involving language miscommunication, trainer Ista Singh realizes his team lacks cultural sensitivity. A guest felt offended due to a staff member's unintended gesture common in one culture but offensive in another. Ista Singh decides to revise the training program. What should be the focus of this revised training? A. Teach basic greetings in major guest languages. B. Review the company's code of conduct policy. C. Foster awareness of cultural norms, nonverbal communication, and bias. D. Encourage staff to avoid interacting with guests from unfamiliar cultures. Answer. Correct answer, C. Explanation. Cultural competence training focuses on understanding nonverbal cues, value systems, and unconscious bias. Crucial in hospitality, the Intercultural Development Inventory (IDI) ADT guidelines emphasize this as a core requirement. Option A is helpful but insufficient. B is reactive rather than proactive. D contradicts hospitality service values and undermines inclusivity. Question 9. To better understand guest satisfaction patterns, Is Chen, a senior trainer, conducts a post-training assessment using only yes-no questions. She finds it hard to gauge the trainee's depth of understanding. What modifications should she consider for more effective evaluation? A. Increase the number of yes-no questions. B. Include more open-ended and probing questions. C. Eliminate all questions and rely on observation. D. Use only multiple-choice questions for consistency. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Effective questioning techniques require open-ended and probing questions to stimulate critical thinking and assess depth of understanding. The Socratic method and Bloom's taxonomy support using such questions to drive reflection and application. IET guidelines encourage trainers to avoid overly simplistic evaluations. Options A and D limit depth, and C removes active learner involvement. Question 10. In the absence of a detailed lesson plan, Mr. Bradley noticed that his training sessions on upselling techniques consistently ran over time, leaving less room for cure and practice. Which of the following is the best justification for using structured lesson plans in training delivery? A. To impress hotel management with detailed documentation. B. To ensure compliance with standard operating procedures. C. To guide pacing, ensure coverage of objectives, and allow room for learner engagement. D. To reduce the need for improvisation by sticking to a script. Answer. Correct answer, C. Explanation. Structured lesson planning helps manage time, content pacing, and learner engagement. It ensures training aligns with smart learning objectives and avoids time mismanagement. The ADDIE model's implement phase emphasizes preparation for delivery. Option A misrepresents the intent. B relates to SOP training but not lesson planning, and D limits adaptability, which is critical in adult learning environments. Question 11. Considering the evidences, Thompson, a hospitality trainer, is designing a motivational strategy for a group of experienced banquet staff who seem disengaged during training sessions. She knows that adult learners are often motivated differently than younger learners. What motivational approach should Thompson prioritize to boost engagement in her sessions? A. Offer extrinsic rewards such as bonuses for attendance. B. Connect training content directly to employees' personal and professional goals. C. Use frequent pop quizzes to create competitive atmosphere. D. Require mandatory attendance with disciplinary consequences for absence. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Adult learning theory Knowles Andragogy emphasizes that motivation is enhanced when learning is relevant to personal or career goals. Adults are intrinsically motivated by meaningful outcomes rather than extrinsic rewards alone. Option A may work short-term but is less sustainable. Option C can create anxiety and discourage participation. Option D may cause resentment and reduce intrinsic motivation. Question 12. When faced with declining customer satisfaction scores in the restaurant division, Mr. Alvarez was asked to conduct a training needs analysis. After reviewing performance data and conducting interviews, he suspects that poor communication skills are the root cause. Which steps should Mr. Alvarez prioritize next to validate this hypothesis? A. Immediately schedule communication skills workshops. B. Conduct direct observations of employee-customer interactions. C. Send a company-wide survey about general training preferences. D. Review the restaurant's standard operating procedures (SOPs). Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Direct observation allows for objective performance analysis and validates the identified gap before investing resources. According to EET standards, the thorough training needs analysis (TNA) must include data triangulation from multiple sources. Jumping to A. Wastes resources if the cause is misidentified. C. May yield irrelevant data. And D. Reviews process but not performance. Question 13. Given the circumstances, Mr. Lee is preparing a training session on safety protocols. He notices that some trainees have short attention spans and easily get distracted during lengthy presentations. Which presentation technique would best help Mr. Lee maintain learner engagement throughout the session? A. Use a monotone voice to keep the session calm and control. B. Incorporate storytelling and real-life scenarios relevant to the workplace. C. Limit the session to a lecture format to cover maximum content quickly. D. Distribute handouts with dense textual information to follow along. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Storytelling and relevant scenarios leverage emotional and cognitive engagement, crucial for adult learners. According to AET training delivery guidelines, connecting content to real experiences helps maintain attention and aids retention. Option A reduces engagement. C risks overload and boredom, and D may overwhelm or distract from active listening. Question 14. In light of recent developments, a trainer discovers that a fellow trainer is giving preferential treatment by easing standards for certain employees during assessments. Mr. Ramirez must decide how to respond ethically. What is the best course of action? A. Ignore it to avoid conflict among staff. B. Report the behavior confidentially to the training manager or HR. C. Confront the fellow trainer publicly during the next team meeting. D. Adjust his own standards similarly to maintain team harmony. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. The EET Code of Ethics and Professional Standards require trainers to maintain fairness, integrity, and accountability. Reporting unethical conduct confidentially protects the organization and learners. Option A compromises integrity, C risks escalation and embarrassment, and D perpetuates unethical behavior. Question 15. Across different scenarios, is Nguyen finds that her sessions consistently run over time, causing participant fatigue and disruption to hotel operations. What is the most effective time management strategy she can apply to her training sessions? A. Prepare detailed lesson plans with specific time allocations for each topic. B. Speak faster to cover all material in less time. C. Eliminate breaks to maximize training content delivery. D. Allow trainees to dictate the pace by extending discussions indefinitely. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Detailed lesson plans with time blocking are fundamental to effective session pacing and align with the implementation phase recommendations. Speaking faster. B. Reduces clarity. Eliminating breaks. C. Harms attention and retention. Letting trainees dictate pacing without limits. D. Compromises training flow and scheduling. Question 16. Under the assumption that a hotel training program is designed to improve complaint handling skills, which of the following assessment methods would best evaluate whether trainees are applying learned skills effectively on the job? A. Multiple choice quizzes after each module. B. Observations during live or simulated guest interactions. C. Self-assessment surveys completed by trainees. D. A written essay on complaint handling theory. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Observations, especially in realistic or simulated environments, directly assess behavioral application of skills and are key in ETAET evaluation frameworks. Multiple choice quizzes A. Assess knowledge, not skill. Self-assessments C. Can be biased. Essays D. Test understanding but not practical application. Question 17. The primary reason for integrating learning management systems (LMS) in hospitality training is to A. Automate all trainer responsibilities and eliminate human involvement. B. Provide centralized access to training materials and track learner progress efficiently. C. Replace all in-person training with online videos. D. Increase the complexity of training delivery to challenge learners. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. LMS platforms centralize content delivery, learner management, and progress tracking. Improving scalability and consistency. ET guidelines recommend LMS use to complement, not replace, in-person training. Option A exaggerates LMS capabilities. Option C ignores blended learning benefits. Option D confuses complexity with effectiveness. Question 18. In terms of trainer responsibilities, Mr. Singh is designing a new employee orientation program. Beyond delivering content, what critical role must he fulfill to be an effective hospitality trainer? A. Enforcing strict disciplinary actions during training. B. Creating a psychologically safe environment to encourage participation. C. Providing all answers immediately without encouraging questions. D. Focusing only on content accuracy rather than learner needs. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Creating a psychologically safe environment promotes open communication, trust, and risk-taking, which enhances learning effectiveness as supported by adult learning theories and IDT professionalism standards. Discipline A should be managed outside training. C discourages critical thinking, and D neglects learner-centered approaches. Question 19. From the perspective of improving housekeeping efficiency, is Ramirez notices inconsistencies between expected and actual performance standards. How should she best use performance analysis to identify appropriate training interventions? A. Compare performance data against clearly defined job standards and analyze gaps. B. Assign more experienced staff to cover for low performers instead of training. C. Increase the frequency of team meetings without analyzing root causes. D. Assume motivation is the only factor affecting performance and focus on incentives. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Performance analysis involves comparing actual performance to defined standards to identify gaps and inform targeted training. A foundation AET practice. Options B and C avoid addressing causes, and D oversimplifies by ignoring other factors like skill and knowledge gaps. Question 20. As illustrated by a recent training session Mr. Johnson encountered, a participant who repeatedly disrupted discussions and challenged the trainer's authority. What is the most effective initial approach Mr. Johnson should take to manage this difficult behavior? A. Immediately remove the participant from the session. B. Address the behavior privately and seek to understand underlying concerns. C. Ignore the behavior to avoid confrontation. D. Publicly reprimand the participant to assert control. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Addressing disruptive behavior privately and empathetically aligns with best practices in facilitation and conflict management as outlined in ETT facilitation skills. This approach can reveal root causes and foster cooperation. Immediate removal A or public reprimand. D risks escalation and loss of trust. Ignoring C allows disruption to continue. Question 21. Throughout the course of redesigning her hotel's employee onboarding program, Ms. Rivera realizes that although she has completed the analysis and design phases, her development efforts are unfocused, resulting in inconsistent training materials. What should be her next step in the ADDIE model to ensure cohesive program development? A. Conduct summative evaluation to measure overall training effectiveness. B. Begin implementing the pilot version of the training with small group and gather feedback. C. Refine and produce detailed training assets, slides, handouts, and exercises based on the design blueprint. D. Revisit the analysis phase to collect more data on learner needs. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. The ADDIE model flows: analyze, design, develop, implement, evaluate. Having defined objectives in design, Ms. Rivera must develop training assets aligned to her blueprint before piloting, implement, or evaluating. Skipping development yields disjointed materials. Summative evaluation A comes after implementation. Revisiting analysis D is unnecessary unless new gaps emerge. Developing cohesive materials ensures consistency and quality. Question 22. The underlying principle of writing effective learning objectives is that they guide both trainer and learner toward measurable outcomes. Mr. Chen drafts. Trainees will understand upselling techniques. Why is this objective inadequate, and how should he revise it? A. It's too specific. He should generalize to cover all sales skills. B. It's not measurable. He should specify that trainees will demonstrate 3 upselling techniques with 90% accuracy in role play. C. It's too behavioral. He should focus on knowledge by stating trainees will learn about upselling. D. It omits timing. He should add by the end of the fiscal year. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. SMART objectives must be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. Understand this vague and unmeasurable. Revising to demonstrate 3 upselling techniques with 90% accuracy in role play. Meet all SMART criteria. Behavior is observable, performance level is defined, and assessment method is clear. Question 23. For the purpose of planning a comprehensive health and safety training, Ahmed must allocate resources across staff, materials, and venue costs. She has a fixed budget but anticipates overruns in external instructor fees. What approach should Ahmed take to ensure budget adherence without compromising training quality? A. Eliminate the external instructor and deliver content herself. B. Prioritize spending on high-impact elements, negotiate instructor rates, and adjust less critical line items. C. Request unlimited budget to cover all anticipated costs. D. Postpone the training until next fiscal year with more funds. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Effective budgeting requires prioritizing high-impact items, negotiating costs, and reallocating from low-priority areas. CHDT financial management guidelines. Eliminating the instructor A may reduce quality, and limited budget requests C are unrealistic. Postponement D delays critical compliance training, negotiation, and reprioritization ensure quality within constraints. Question 24. Scholars have debated whether passive listening alone suffices for effective trainer-learner communication. During group exercise, Mr. Williams observes that some participants' questions go unanswered, causing frustration. Which communication skills should he apply to improve interaction? A. Use active listening. Paraphrase questions, ask clarifying probes, and confirm understanding before responding. B. Increase lecture time to minimize interruptions. C. Direct all questions to chat board for post-session review only. D. Discourage questions to maintain agenda. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Active listening. Paraphrasing, probing, and confirming. Builds rapport and ensures trainees feel heard in line with TT communication standards. It fosters engagement and reduces misunderstandings. Options. BD. Neglect learner needs and weaken two-way communication. Question 25. Evidence suggests that effective facilitation requires balancing structure and flexibility. Is Gomez's plan a strict agenda but finds the group highly interactive and wanting deeper discussion on SOP updates? Or facilitation adjustment aligns best with adult learning principles? A. Stick rigidly to the agenda to respect time constraints. B. Allow the group to lead off-topic discussions fully before returning to SOPs. C. Briefly defer lingering questions, schedule a follow-up session and integrate key points now. D. Cut off discussion immediately to move on. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Adult learners value relevance and autonomy. Deferring non-urgent discussions to a follow-up balances agenda pacing with learner-driven exploration as recommended by TAET facilitation guidelines. Rigid adherence, say, ignores learner needs. A full off-topic. B. Jeopardizes objectives. Abrupt cutoff. D. Harms engage. Question 26. To illustrate this point, Mr. Santos is training staff on a new POS system. He currently only uses verbal explanations. What training aid strategy will most effectively support diverse learning preferences and enhance skill acquisition? A. Provide a detailed printed manual and no demonstration. B. Incorporate live software demos, annotated screenshots, and allow hands-on practice stations. C. Share a link to an online tutorial and skip in-person training. D. Use only audio recordings of system walkthroughs. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Combining live demonstrations, visual aids, and kinesthetic practice addresses VAC learning styles and promotes retention. PATET training delivery best practices. Manuals alone A or audio only D are insufficient. Exclusively online tutorials C may not suit all learners or ensure hands-on proficiency. Question 27. Within the framework of modern hospitality training, Becker contemplates producing instructional videos to supplement live sessions. What key principles should guide her video production process to maximize learning effectiveness? A. Focus on high production quality over content clarity. B. Script concise scenarios, include captions, and segment videos into 3 5-minute microlearning modules. C. Record entire training sessions without editing to capture authenticity. D. Use lengthy, unbroken videos to avoid subject fragmentation. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Microlearning video segments 3 5 minutes Clear scripting and captions align with cognitive load theory and multimedia learning principles as endorsed by CHDT learning guidelines. High production without clarity A distracts. Unedited sessions C and lengthy videos D overload learners and reduce engagement. Question 20. Despite the fact that multiple guest service training programs have been implemented, Lee finds it challenging to demonstrate their impact. Which data collection and analysis approach will provide the most robust evidence of training effectiveness? A. Track attendance numbers and report completion rates. B. Conduct pre- and post-training performance assessments and analyze changes statistically. C. Gather anecdotal feedback from supervisors only. D. Measure the volume of training materials produced. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Comparing pre- and post-training assessments and performing statistical analysis yields objective evidence of learning gains per Kirkpatrick levels 2 and 4 at AET evaluation standards. Attendance A and material volume. D. Are process measures, not outcome measures. The anecdotes. C. Lack rigor and generalizability. Question 29. By evaluating the first-day experiences of new banquet coordinators, Mr. Ortiz learns that trainees feel overwhelmed by policy overload during orientation. Which strategy should he implement to optimize the onboarding process? A. Provide all company policies on day 1 to ensure compliance. B. Phase policy training over the first 4 weeks, integrating on-the-job coaching and bite-sized modules. C. Eliminate policy orientation entirely to reduce information load. D. Delegate policy review to self-study without trainer support. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Staggered orientation with bite-sized modules and on-the-job coaching aligns with adult learning and cognitive load principles, improving retention and reducing overwhelm. Immediate overload A and self-study without support. D. Impede learning, omitting policy. C. Risks compliance failures. Question 30. In summary of a newly launched leadership development program for assistant managers, Isa Thompson includes modules on conflict resolution, decision-making, and team motivation. Post-program evaluations show high satisfaction but little change in on-the-job leadership behaviors. What modifications should she make to strengthen behavioral transfer? A. Add more theoretical lectures on leadership theories. B. Incorporate action learning projects with real department challenges and coaching follow-up. C. Replace workshops with self-paced readings. D. Increase the program's duration by 2 weeks without changing content. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Action learning projects and ongoing coaching foster real-world application and behavior change consistent with Kirkpatrick Level 3 at AET leadership development best practices. More lectures A. Or readings C. Increased knowledge but not behavior transfer. Lengthening duration. D. Without practical application does not address transfer gap.